a lot of static. Okay, I think we found who it was. All right, so everybody, when you guys signed up for the webinar, you guys should have received the white paper right here. We're going to go over a couple key things. There's a lot of new features in this 10.2 white paper. What we're going to do is just kind of go through some of the features that we think are, you know, the most valuable, so to say. And also, when we get kind of halfway through the webinar, we'll ask you guys, you know, if we haven't touched base on a feature that you guys think would be useful or that you actually use right now, go ahead and you know, share that with us. That's what we're here for today. So what we're going to do is start out with forms. Okay, so there's two things that we're going to kind of show in the forms process, and that's going to be the new landing page in forms, which will lead us into the multi-value field groups, which is a new feature in 10.2 as well. All right. So what's cool about the landing page? Let me go ahead and launch it real quick. You're going to have to bear with us a little bit. Our demo server, as Joe knows, Tim knows, is not the fastest. But anyway, the landing page in forms, that's a new feature for 10.2. That's going to allow administrators to create, like I said, a landing page of select processes that you guys have created. And the benefit of this is that you can provide one URL to users, which then will get a thumbnail, which we're actually seeing right now, of the processes. Okay, so with you know, Forms 10.0, previously, what you would have to do is, unfortunately, you'd have to log in as a user to get to all two of the processes, or you would have to have one URL for all of your processes. Okay, so what this allows is just a thumbnail view of all the processes that you would have access to. Okay. So that's a pretty cool new feature, kind of like that a lot. So we're actually going to be using the tuition reimbursement field, or process, I should say, to demonstrate. It's going to be a table in this form, which is going to lead us into multi-value field groupings and kind of how this table maps to a field group. So I'm launching the process, launching the form right now. And once this, okay, so we're here. And I'll go ahead. This is a basic form that we created about probably about a year ago for Norfolk, as you can see right here, the city of Norfolk. It was an HR demo. So this form literally would take just a few minutes to build, right? So what we did to add to it was create this table here that's going to map to these multi-value field groups that we're going to show you in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling out this form. Pretty simple. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my course description. I'll just put history there. The amount will be $100 for that class. The completion date, we'll just say it was Monday. Okay, so what we added again was this table feature to add additional values. Okay, so what I'm doing, I've already added, you know, course description of history. So what I'm going to do now is add a course description of math. Okay, same idea. We're going to put in amounts. Completion date, we'll just say last Thursday is good with that. And a lot of you guys already know that you can upload supporting docs to a form. If not, this is how it works. So this is just a field that you can add to a form, supporting docs. It gives you an upload button right there. And I'm just going to put in this sample TIFF right here. So at this point, you know, just a basic couple fields, a table with course description, amount, and completion date, and then an additional supporting document. Okay. So for tuition reimbursement, it could really just be, that you passed, just verification that you've passed the class or something like that, right? So at this point, let's go ahead and submit the form. In just a few seconds, we should get a page here that says that it was successfully submitted. So that's what you see there. So at this point, you can download this for record, print it into Laserfiche, but you don't really need to do that because that's what we just did, or you can email that. So that's just verification that the submission of that form was successful. Okay. So what we want to do is kind of go into Laserfiche now. We're going to go into the Laserfiche client. And what I have here is a folder called Norfolk HR. If I expand that, I have that form submitting into my tuition reimbursement folder right here, okay? And specifically my submittals right there, all right? So what you're gonna see, and we're gonna kind of go through a few steps here, but to demonstrate the multi-value field grouping, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up Hazelnut's submission right there, and then we're going to take a look at her reimbursement form, okay? So what you have here is the reimbursement form that we just filled out, but what we wanted to show you specifically, which is, like I said, new to 10.2, is going to be your multi-value field grouping here, all right? So as you can see, when we created that table, or actually when we filled out this table, we're just mapping that to these fields. So course description, history, amount, completion date, which equates to that right there. And then math, amount and completion date. So where that could be useful, I mean, to me, it's useful in a scenario just like this, where you're mapping a table in a Laserfiche form into metadata in the repository. I think it's very useful doing that. But another place would be like in the financial world, where you may have like an invoice with multiple line items. So you've got a document in here, and you got an invoice number, multiple line items. You can kind of group those fields together. And in Power in February, they brought this up being a new feature that they were looking for or towards in 10.2, and just a lot of people had asked about it, and when we started using it, I could see where it would be very beneficial. So that would be your multi-value field groups.
We do have one question that came in from Chris. He wanted to see where the landing page setup was.
Okay, yeah, good question.
So we're going to go back to the forms page real quick.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so where you would configure that, Chris, is going to be under you're under Laserfiche forms. You could be in the inbox right there, but it's really your admin, right? Your admin. Then you're going to go into administration. Okay. And again, just bear with us. And then you're going to have a landing management option right here under system settings. And you can see my Norfolk demo landing page right there. I'll go ahead and open that up. And what you have is you can give it a name, URL safe name, and then go ahead and set permissions on that landing page as well. So right now I just have my landing page open to off. You can set it to public users using the forms portal. You create a landing page specifically for the public, and internal, and then selected people as well. And then it gives you your URL to pass to the users right there. Okay, so we'll move along here. Was there any other questions on the like the multi-value field groupings while we were here? All right, so we'll move along. So we've touched base on the landing page. We've touched base on multi-value field groups. the next thing that we want to show you is the new search thesaurus. Okay. This is going to be in your web admin console. So I'm going to go ahead and open that guy up. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna step back for a second because I wanted to show you where in the Laserfiche admin console that you actually configure the multi-value field groups. Okay, kind of skipped over that, so let me go back to that. So I'm going to log into my repository right there, and then go into metadata management, my templates, and then you guys are kind of familiar with this. Go ahead and open up your template right there. And number one, what has to happen, you guys already realize that you have to make these fields, the course description, the amount, and the completion date, you have to make those a multi-value field first, okay? And then, you know, I learned basically where to figure this out just by opening it up, and they've added a tab now called field groups, okay? So if I open that guy up, you know, what we have is those multi-value fields that we use, the course description, amount, completion date. I just set up a group right there. Okay, so as you can see, if I go and create another field, the next one's going to be group 2, et cetera, et cetera. So it's pretty easy to map those fields, so it's multi-value fields to a group. Okay, and that's really all I had to do in the admin console to do that. So. Okay, yeah, so moving towards the search thesaurus now. It's going to be in the web admin client, so let me go ahead and open that guy up. Actually, I need to log out of the admin console first. Okay, so upgrading the web admin client to 10.2. I'm not sure how many people are using the web admin client right now. I mean, Laserfiche is trying to push a lot of administrators to this or to any web-based product right now. But one thing that I noticed when we upgraded our web admin client to 10.2, it's removed some features and actually put those features in your web access now. Okay, and Tim's actually going to show that in a few minutes after I show the source and what we've mapped into the source. But that's why mine, if you haven't upgraded, that's kind of why mine is going to be. It looks a little bit different, basically. So typically you'd have metadata, templates, et cetera, right here. It's no longer there. It's in the web access product. So what you do have after you upgrade, you have a tab, the source, right? So what you're doing is basically you're mapping the keywords is the best way to say it, right? So what I've done is add a term, document, all right? So what I want to do, if a user types in, when they're doing a keyword search or a text search, if they type in image, I want document to show. If they type in document, I want image to show. Tim, I'll let him speak just for a second on, he gave me a good example of where that may be used. One of our customers, it's like K9 or something like that, but.
Yeah, so we have a customer that has different users within the county that will be signing up for emails via workflow for given words that come up in the minutes for different meetings. And for example, if they sign up for the word dog park, so anytime there's a meeting with a reference to a dog park, they would be getting an email. And we can now set it up so that if the word canine or something like that were associated within the thesaurus here, where they would also be getting an email. So it's kind of behind the scenes. The user doesn't have to worry about it. It's just automatically in there. Anytime they search for a given word that has a word that is obviously related to it, it will come up.
Right. And so what I just did right there is just add, click the plus button to add a new term. So that's where you would add, dog, and then you would include the term. When searching for these terms, then you would type in canine right there. And that's kind of what we did again for, if I back out of this, it's kind of what we did for image and document, okay? So it's pretty self-explanatory to set up, and I think it would be pretty beneficial to many departments. So going back to the clients, to show that I have a saved search. Let me make sure that it's loaded up here. So search the source, image to document, just for this demo. If I click that, what I'm doing, number one, is just narrowing it down to the tuition reimbursement template. And then number two, as you can see, I'm typing in image, right? So if I click search right there, you will see now that, you're going to see documents, right? So documents, image documents, et cetera, and no different than a regular search. If you click that guy, it's going to take you directly to documents, image, et cetera. Okay, so that's how the search the source works. So going back to the web admin client. Let me log back into that real quick. So I'm going to let Tim kind of talk through what has moved from the web admin client over to like the web access setting. It's not a lot, but it's good to know where it is in web access. So I'll let Tim go ahead and log into web access and kind of show you that real quick.
All right, we're going to log in here. So a lot of the things that maybe your individual users might be doing are admins for a particular department, and maybe not your Laserfiche admin in general. A lot of that stuff has been moved over to web access. Or if you happen to hear the term web client, that's kind of what the name that Laserfiche is moving towards. You've got your desktop client, and then you have your web client as well. So I'm going to go over into this area over here to the management section. And that's going to be where your departmental admins are going to be able to change things like template, add in users, things of that nature. So when we load it up here, we've got our overview, which is going to have your users and groups, activity, which would be sessions, things like that. Say you had someone who was logged in for longer than they needed to be, and you needed to manually kick them out. You can do that within here. The metadata, etc. So again, you have your overview section that's got all the different sections. But if we click into users, you're going to get your user list, your groups list. If we go into metadata, again, you're going to have that information in here. And then you also have the ability to do any kind of records management things. If you had to create a new cycle, a new event, your cutoff instructions, etc. That's all going to be within here. So again, your departmental admins would be able to get into everything that they need to do within your web access or web client, as opposed to having to go into admin console, either the desktop version or the web version. So everything's all right in one place. And another cool feature, we go over to the more action section. We also have the ability to generate some new reports. So you can do a metadata report, which is going to allow you to print out or create an Excel file of the fields that relate to a given folder. Your entry effective access rights report is going to let you find out the access rights for a given folder. Your user effective rights is going to let you print out the effective rights for a particular user. And then you've got the security one as well. So it's pretty easy to go through. If we just click on one, I'll show you what it looks like. You have your report type, so you can decide how you want it to print out. You can select a particular user, a group, or all users. And then you can select which pieces of information you want to do that report on. And once you have that done, all you have to do is click OK, and it will create that Excel file for you.
Cool. All right.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know about that now.
All right, thanks, Tim. So what we're going to do now, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and unmute, everybody, and let you guys. We have some more to go over, specifically in the Forms product, but this is probably the halfway point, or a little bit more than halfway. So I wanted to go ahead and unmute and let people. If you do have any questions, just feel free to go ahead and ask at this time. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and continue. If you come up with something, go ahead and ask that question, in the chat features. So we'll go ahead and remute everyone, and we'll go ahead and continue. So what I wanted to talk about again is we're going to go back into the Forms product, and going to kind of show you a couple new features other than like the landing page. All right. So let me go back to Forms here. One of the new features, it's called Update Site Navigation. It's pretty small, but it is pretty cool. You just have different views over here now. So in the past, you only had this list view. So if you were to log it to Forms, start a process, this is what you would see. They do give you, they call it the grid view, table view now. So if you prefer to see this kind of like the landing page when you log in, which I prefer, I think it looks better. You're able to do that. Pretty simple feature, but pretty cool too. All right, so the next thing, and this is not new, but a lot of people may not know about it. It's actually going to be the business process library. And I don't want to really go too deep into this, because in 2 weeks, we're going to have a webinar specifically, on the business process library and how to export a process and documents within the business process library to your Forms suite. If you guys haven't played around with this, I would definitely recommend it. Gives you a whiteboard, to start a process. Different categories, obviously, the departments, industry specific. You select construction, you have just basically different whiteboards to start a process. And it's relatively simple to do that. So, all right, so I'll go ahead and get out of the business process library there. The next thing I wanted to show is the dashboards in Forms. Okay, so if I go to reports, one you guys should be familiar with. If you've used Forms in the past, you should be familiar with the operational dashboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a process to do a report on. All right, so we'll just use the same tuition reimbursement right there. All right, so that'll load up, and then we're going to get different options for dashboards, right? So everybody that has used Forms in the past should know about the operational dashboard. All right, so the way I think of it, it's more of a live, user-based reporting tool. Okay, so all the instances for that process, total in progress, user task, just gives you kind of an up-to-date, or again, live reporting tool. Okay. What's new in 10.2, Forms Professional, and we'll talk about that in just a second as well. The difference between the essential and the professional is the performance dashboard right here. I kind of think of the performance dashboard as more post-process analytics reporting, right? So it'll tell me for this process, I have 9 total finished. Right there. If you have any canceled, you can actually click on the canceled right there, see which incident was canceled, terminated. I actually used this about a week ago, because I was exporting a form from the business process library and then reconfiguring the values in the fields
my repository, and it would get all the way to the point of, you know, just trying to say to the repository, and it would kind of terminate or suspend. So it's very good tool for troubleshooting as well, right? So moving along, duration of completed instances, and you can see by just hovering over top of this right here, the average stage duration of this process, you can see that the duration is less than 0.1 days, right? And the percent of all completed instances is 100%. So again, it's more of post-process reporting analytics. Okay. So Chris asked, "Could I make him the presenter?" So let me unmute everybody real quick and ask Chris was asking a question here. Hey, so Chris, did you want to be the presenter for something?
No, I clicked that by accident.
Okay, I didn't know if you had something you wanted to share or show with us. I was gonna let you do it, but yeah, okay, cool, gotcha.
No, I was going to click on the chat one, and I just clicked on the wrong one. Could I ask the question real quick?
Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
The instance duration, does it only show in days? Can it show in minutes or hours?
I believe that it is set up specifically for days. I can get back with you. I don't think that it breaks it down into. Actually, it's for instances where you have approvals and that kind of thing, so that you can make sure that users who are responsible for different approvals are doing it in a timely manner.
Yeah, that would be good for that scenario, but we have some other forms where it may just, and this may be in another section to get that information, but it'd be cool to kind of see how long it takes users to fill out the form and stuff like that. And where it wouldn't be in days, they'd be filling it out in minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that information can probably be found in the report section, like generating a specific report as opposed to your dashboard view.
Okay.
Dashboard is generalized of what happened in a particular form.
Okay.
All right. So while we're still on forms, I'm sure some people have seen this table here that explains what's in Forms Essential, what's in Forms Professional. But if you have it, I'll leave this up just for a few seconds here and just kind of talk through. Right now there's two additional forms. So you have Essentials, and then you've got a checkbox right there that says, okay, for Forms Essentials, this is what you get. Forms Professional, you get all of the above, right? What we want everybody to know is that everybody that had workflow now has Forms Essential. So a lot of people may not know that. So go ahead, I'll give you a second to kind of look through that. But again, if you have workflow, you also have Forms Essentials now. So, and as you see, we already talked about the performance dashboard being part of Professional. There's one thing that I wanted to show you in the configuration, the Forms configuration that's new to 10.2 as well, and that's going to be the payment gateway. So I'll go back to our server here and actually log into Forms configuration. Thought I had that saved.
This configuration section is something that's done by your Laserfiche admin. So this is going to be done on the front end when you first install your forms product. So a lot of this stuff is not something that a user would see ever, but some of this stuff is also where you would set up your payment gateway and your email settings, templates, etc.
Right. And so for Forms Professional, you're going to have the payment gateway, you're going to have lookups, but yeah, what I wanted to show you was, this is pretty cool. If you're taking payments, through a form online, you can actually set it up through Braintree right now with a merchant ID, currency, et cetera. They're going to give you a private key and a public key. We don't have an account with Braintree, but that's how simple it is to set up, taking payments, through a form, and is new to 10.2. So.
And that allows for credit cards to be entered in, or also PayPal.
Yep. Okay, so any questions on maybe the new features, in Forms? We're kind of wrapping up. There's one more thing that I want to talk about, but yeah, go ahead. If you have any questions, feel free. All right. The last thing that I kind of want to talk about, it's a feature for 10.2 is the federated search. What this is going to allow you to do, and I'll go ahead and open up the white paper or notes on that as well, kind of let you read through it as we're talking through it. It's going to allow you to now search across multiple repositories, and this, I tell you, the two things that were brought up the most in Empower in February for 10.2 was the multi-value field groups and the federated search features. That's what we heard quite a bit. The thing to know is that the federated search, it's for Rio only, customers. And it's specifically, it's going to say that, down here. It's not supported on other Laserfiche editions, but it says that it allows you to perform searches across multiple repositories, at the same time, which is key. If you're involved with obviously multiple departments doing searches, it's just going to speed things up quite a bit. You're looking for particular text, but you don't know where it's at, which repository, or it could be in multiple, right? This is going to help you out tremendously. So it tells you that you've got document text searches, fields, entries, names, annotations, etc. It's the same search that you're used to. It's just now allowing you to do that amongst multiple repositories. I will tell you that it's configured during the 10.2 install. You have to make sure that is included or checked in the 10.2 install. If you don't, you'll have to kind of reinstall it and do it again. Or not reinstall, but you can modify and then go back and add it. But that's where it's at. That's how you configure it. It's not like in your admin console, which it's kind of weird to find. We had to do some searching, where to enable that, and they save you guys time. It's in the install. So I think Joyce had a question.
Yeah, and I did answer it already. The question was, can you install forms on multiple servers like you can with WebLink? Is the portal license tied to the Laserfiche server? And my response was the portal is tied to a specific forms instance. So while you can have multiple form servers, only one would have the portal associated with it.
Okay. Did that help, Joyce? Hey, Joyce, did that help you? Did that answer your question? Sorry, guys. Again, sorry. Okay. The last thing that I wanted to kind of go over, it's not necessarily new to 10.2, and I'm sure you guys already know about it if you've upgraded to 10, is the starred feature in Laserfiche. I'm going to go ahead and show it.
just in case. All right, so in Laserfiche 10.0, you got a feature called star. All right, so if I was working in the same place of a large repository all the time, it's just like a favorites. It's gonna take you directly to your folder structure. I know a lot of people are doing searches instead of drilling down, which we prefer. But if you are one that needs to kind of scroll through multiple folders, this allows you to go ahead and star or favorites your folders. So I'm going to say Norfolk HR, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a star right there. And then what that does is at the root level of the repository, it puts your star. And if I log into that repository, go to start, it's going to take me directly to Norfolk HR rather than having to manipulate my way down to through the folder structure to find Norfolk. And again, that's new to 10.0. I just wanted to show that, and in case you guys weren't aware of it, it's pretty cool. I do see people using that, customers using that quite a bit. All right, so that kind of wraps up what we had to go over this morning. And again, there's going to be some things in that white paper. If you guys did not get the white paper, just shoot Tim or myself an email, and we'll get that over to you. But it should have been in your sign up that Brian Sabin had sent to you guys. And it lists, all of the features, all of the new features of 10.2. But if we were to try to go over, each one of those, we'd be sitting here probably for 2 hours or so, which I know you guys don't want to do that. But if you guys have any questions about those features, feel free to shoot us an email, and we'll help you out with that, get you an answer. In wrapping up, Tim, do you have anything else?
Nope. Again, just reach out if you have any questions. If there's anything that you didn't see or anything that you have questions about that you didn't want to bring up for everyone, feel free to reach out to myself or Jeremy, and we'll get you with the answers that you need.
All right, cool. So I'll open it up one more time for any additional questions, and if there's no additional questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up. All right, guys. Well, we do appreciate your time, and we'll have another webinar on the business process library, like we had said earlier, in about 2 weeks. We'll be sending that out, and hope you guys join us. So appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.